Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will call the January 21st meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Barzak.
Here.
Chapletsky.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Excused.
Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
8 present, 1 excused.
Alderman Gary Barzak will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on to item D on your agendas. We have one item up for public hearing this evening. I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on the improvement of South 76th Street from West Pierce Street to West Greenfield Avenue and portions of intersecting streets by major asphalt resurfacing with miscellaneous sidewalk repair, sanitary sewer relay, building services, and utility adjustments.
Mr. Daniels.
Thank you, Mayor Devine. Okay, this is the public hearing for South 76th Street. Here's the procedure for tonight. I will go through the project scope and cost. I'll go through the assessment rates, methods of payment. Then we'll have comments and questions from the Common Council and then from citizens affected. Then the hearing will be closed and the project will be referred to the Board of Public Works later tonight with the final decision expected later tonight. Here are the project limits from Pierce Street, which is the border with the city of Milwaukee, down to Greenfield Avenue. Here are some pictures from the road. The concrete paving is from 1952, so it's 62 years old, which actually makes it one of the oldest pavements, concrete pavements in the city that hasn't been resurfaced yet. So we're seeing a lot of severe deterioration. It's very difficult to maintain all these potholes. It's very expensive. The pavement is severely cracked, potholed. The manholes are broken up around them, lots of patching. And as well as on top of the road, under the road, we have a very antiquated brick sanitary sewer from 1904. It's leaking, collapsing. So we are proposing to replace some of the storm sewer, which is from 1904 to 1923, most of the sanitary sewer from 1904 to 1923, and then new street lighting poles and cable would also be installed in the median. The project will include the removal and replacement of the deteriorated curb, gutter, and some concrete-based patching. The old concrete pavement that remains would be cracked and seeded. The idea is to crack the larger panels of concrete into smaller ones so that the new asphalt over the top won't have the cracking coming through. There will be a new 4-inch asphalt surface placed over the old concrete. And as I said, the underground utilities would be repaired or upgraded. There are several sustainability benefits to this project. The gravel used would be 100% recycled crushed concrete from old pavements instead of mining for new gravel. Recycled fly ash from coal electric plants would be used in the concrete to reduce mining. The new asphalt will be made from 20 to 35% recycled asphalt. New LED streetlights would reduce electricity by 66%. And the trees in the median will have to be removed to put the sewer in, but they would be replaced. Trees are a benefit to us because they intercept the rainwater and reduce the runoff that soaks into the soil at a slower and more even rate. This takes the pressure off our storm sewer. And the trees do have other benefits such as improved air quality, reduced air temperatures in the summer, and increased property values. So any trees that we take down would be replaced, but those are mostly in the median. This is a typical finished project with new asphalt surface, curb and gutter, and sidewalk repaired as needed. This project is being coordinated with the WSDOT project to replace the bridge over 76th Street. So currently, the ramps at 84th Street are closed, and according to WSDOT's schedule, they will remain closed until March 16th while they rebuild the Honey Creek culvert. At that point, the 76th Street Bridge will not be open, or will not be closed until the 84th Street ramps are opened, which we're expecting to happen about March 17th. The city sanitary sewer work on 76th Street from Greenfield to Pierce would begin about April 7th, with the street being closed to through traffic, although we probably can get residents in and out as needed. 76th Street between Greenfield and Pierce would then reopen to traffic by July 27th to accommodate the State Fair. And Kearney Road would also be open at that point to accommodate State Fair traffic. But WSDOT is saying that the 76th Street Bridge would remain closed during the State Fair. After the fair, then, 76th Street between Greenfield and Pierce will close again while we resurface the road. So starting on August 11th, then we would resurface the road, and that would last until October, at which point 76th Street would open and the bridge would be open, and everything would be finished at the same time. During the closures, this is WSDOT's proposed detour down 84th Street up to Blue Mound and around the whole construction. The state's construction is here, and then our construction will be here. This is just a conceptual drawing of the new 76th Street Bridge that they'll be building this summer. Here is the cost of our project. The pavement will be $1 million. Street lighting will be $89,000. Traffic signals, $68,000. We're putting new signals in at Greenfield Avenue. Sanitary sewer is $276,000. Storm sewer, $167,000. And water main, $27,000. So the total cost is $1,679,000. Now the federal government is chipping in $1.1 million toward the cost, but the city will still have to pay for $499,000. And part of the way we are doing that is the city is collecting $178,000 in special assessments, which is 17% of this pavement cost, to help fund the portion that the city has to pay. Here's a sample special assessment for a 40-foot lot with the $41.82 rate. The homeowner's cost would be $1,672. Now the bills will not be mailed out until March of 2015. There will be payment options, including a lump sum payment, 5-year installment plan, 10-year installment plan. So assuming you choose the 10-year installment plan, your payment in the first year, which is 2015, would be $234 for the whole year. And then in the 10th year, 2024, it would be $174 for the whole year. This is kind of a history of the assessments and special assessments in West Allis. We've been doing it for over 100 years to pay the full cost. Historically, they've paid the full cost of a new street in front of their property because they are enjoying the unique benefit of that new street. On this project, the city's only going to collect 17%, which is $178,000. The assessment rate is $41.82 per foot for all residential properties anywhere in the city, no matter how wide your street is or how busy your street is or how much traffic is on your street or even what the actual bid prices come in at. Everyone is treated exactly equally. Everyone pays $41.82 per foot. Now, special assessments are the only way to ensure that tax-exempt schools, churches, charities, county parks, and even railroads pay their fair share too. No one is exempt from special assessments, even though some properties do not pay property taxes at all. And then businesses, corporations, and manufacturers pay a higher assessment rate to ensure they contribute their fair share, and their assessment rate is $52 per foot. This is a map of every property that has paid a special assessment in the past 10 years. So you can see that for the most part, everyone is paying their fair share. Most have already actually paid for their street or their alley in the past 10 years. So everyone across the city is paying, and if you go back historically, everyone has paid for 100 years. So no one is being left out. The city does borrow the funds for this project, so the city does have to pay interest to these municipal bondholders over the next 10 years. So This is why we do charge 4% interest if you choose the 5 or 10-year payment plan, but the city does not make a profit off this interest. So at this time, we'll have comments and questions.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Does the Common Council have any questions on this item?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel?
I have a couple, I guess, questions and just comments. Pete, originally this was supposed to be done last summer, but there was, I mean, I know.
Yeah, we're trying to coincide with the bridge.
These road construction projects are planned 5 or 10 years in advance with our capital improvement plan. So this work was planned, originally scheduled for last summer.
Yeah.
But we delayed it to coincide with the closing of the 76th Street Bridge, because it makes more sense
Yes,
for traffic flow, and that's all connected to the Zoo Interchange project, where we have the 800-pound monkey in the room, or
That's correct.
gorilla, or whatever it is. So, you mentioned new lights at Greenfield Avenue. These are going to be the new traffic signals are they going to have emergency vehicle preemption
Yes,
in
they
it?
will. Yes,
So
they
that the fire trucks and ambulances and stuff, they can get a green light automatically for them as they come.
that is
So,
correct.
good. And then originally, because of the state law about complete streets, this street would have qualified for having a mandated bike lane, but that would have required either removing the median, which would have completely changed the character, or keeping the median and then widening the street and cutting down over 100 mature trees.
Yeah, I think it was about 80 trees.
Okay, 80 trees. So, but staff was able to work with the DOT and get an exemption on this bike lane requirement, which I applaud, because 76th Street is a gorgeous street. It really is. I didn't grow up in West Allis. I've only been here for 32 years. And my first memory of West Allis was driving shopping into downtown with my mom in our old Beetle. And we came in on 76th Street, and the wide median and the flower beds there, that is my very first memory of this city. So I am really glad that our staff was able to work with DOT to get this exemption, so we could keep that median and the mature trees. So, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Are there any other questions or comments from the council on this item? If not, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? If there are, we ask that you approach the microphone here and give us your name and address for our record and sign in either before or after your comments. Or during your comments if you're that talented.
My name is Joe Tishoni. I live on 76th Street, 1321 South 76th Street. I had a couple of questions in regards to the state fair. Do they provide any funds for this as well? Not only are we many times inconvenienced by the great deal of traffic that comes through there, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of cars that come through there over 11 days. I feel as though they should also bear some cost in this as well. At the same time, I do appreciate the 17% special assessment instead of the possible 25%. However, I also feel as though 76th Street outside of Highway 100 is probably the most traveled street in all of West Allis. And if you're telling me that all of us here, along with all of the other residents on 76th Street, should be bearing the cost alone, I appreciate that everyone's paid their fair share, as you said, and everyone is treated equally. However, I don't drive down 83rd Street. I never do. They reap the benefits of having a brand new street, or whoever else. I'd be willing to bet that everyone in this room spends a great deal of time driving down 76th Street and uses it on a very regular basis, along with many other people in the state, let alone Milwaukee, let alone anyone else that comes here. And although you can impose a special assessment, by law, I don't think that it's something that should truly be considered, given the amount of traffic that that street gets, and for all of us to bear the brunt of that, given the amount of traffic that's there, I think is especially high. When I get a bill in the mail all of a sudden, or as it says, this isn't a bill, but what would potentially be my bill, $2,100, I feel like this is a street that services everyone in this community amongst many other communities. And it's something that should be reevaluated given the amount of traffic that that street gets. And I guess those are my comments. You said that State Fair doesn't give any money towards this project, but I think if it's something that could be done or should be done, I think they could also use a special assessment for using that road on a very regular basis.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on this public hearing?
That's way more clear.
Hi, I'm Gina Barney, and my address is 1334 South 76th. And I do echo his thoughts on the matter, but isn't it that living on 76th Street, we're paying higher taxes anyway, too? You know, so not only, I mean, you go 2 blocks east from 76th Street, and there were houses up for sale, and I looked at their taxes, and they're $1,400 less than my taxes for just going 2 blocks east. So if we're already paying more in property tax, you know, should we, considering the fact that we do, and that the road is used as much as it is by everybody. You know, when we had our alleys done, I didn't say a thing. And we had the assessment for the alley, because basically we're the ones that use the alley. But we're not the only ones that use 76th Street. It is such a widely used street. I agree that, you know, maybe there should be some other consideration in there. But that was it.
Thank you. Does anybody else have questions or comments on this item?
Dan Pape of 1030 South 76th Street. I'm gonna probably get booed, but I'm questioning why the whole street ain't being removed, right down and put back in concrete.
Well, the concrete that's there is really quite good concrete. I've been amazed my
I
whole...
disagree.
Well,
You're gonna
it's...
see the slabs physically
Right.
move when buses go over them.
Right, and that's why we're going to crack and seat it. We're going to crack them and seat them so that they don't rock anymore, and then we're going to put 4 inches over the top. And, you know, 76th Street is being built to handle the traffic. It lasted 62 years, which is an amazingly long time.
Buses, the city buses didn't help, that's where it...
Right, but it lasted 62 years. It really, it's one of the more remarkable roads from an engineering point of view, that it lasted that long.
I agree.
And now we're putting 4 inches down, which is, so you're gonna have a total of like 12 inches of pavement there. So it's being built to handle the traffic so that it won't wear out any sooner.
What's your life
But
expectancy of the
20 to
asphalt?
30 years.
You think that long?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on this item from the audience? Okay, seeing none, we will close. Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Mary Gonzalez, 1313 South 76th Street. My first question was answered in regards with the longevity of the asphalt, but then also the repairs to the sewer. Are we going to be, is there an expectation that those repairs will last for a significant length of time, or are we going to expect more?
Well, the sanitary sewer will last. It lasted 100 years last time, so I won't guarantee 100 years, but yeah, 75 years at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on our public hearing this evening?
Barbara Hart, 1040 South 76th Street. I know I've talked to Mr. Daniels numerous times, and basically my concern was the sewer pipes themselves. Since we have the oldest sewer system in the city, all the sewer pipes that go to each individual home, I would prefer that I have a new pipe put in. And I'm, you know, if we are assessed the pipes that are put to the house to replace them, I don't mind paying the extra, because right now I have a maintenance agreement with a sewer system, a sewer company, to come and clean my sewer pipes every spring, so my basement doesn't flood, since it has flooded 3 times, and with all the tree roots. And so I know I have a bad pipe, and so I'm just hoping that they take that into consideration, that when they go through and do the sewers, that they check the pipes to make sure that they are in decent repair or need to be replaced. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions on our public hearing this evening? Okay, now we will close public hearing, number 1. And we will move on to item F on your agendas. This is citizen participation, which is an opportunity for residents to address the council on any matters of interest to them. We ask that you keep your comments to approximately 5 minutes. We attempt to keep this session to about 30 minutes of our agenda this evening. Is there anybody else who wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening?
Robert
Mr.
Brown,
Brown.
and tonight I'm here representing the Christian Civil Liberties Union, and it's something very serious. You started out with the Pledge of Allegiance, you know, and I want to bring it to your attention with some facts here, how someone's going around, and this is Milwaukee County we live in, and there is somebody coming here that's making a disgrace. It was the national anthem, and what our Army, our soldiers fought for. My wife has 4, or had 4, brothers in the service. One's laying in Normandy with a bullet in the head. I had a brother that came back from Vietnam, and he was so bad he was drinking water out of the streets when he'd go in a house. I couldn't even get him in Veterans Hospital. He was sleeping in the bushes under the trees. But he was one of the original people who came back that was all messed up from sneaking around in the jungles. What I'm bringing your attention to, because you are Milwaukee County and you represent it, you also represent me and all the soldiers who fought that live in West Allis. We got Lady Gaga coming to town. Maybe you've heard about it. I'll just read you from one of our flyers. This will be on the Facebook, internet. We've got a lot of things going on. Just the first little paragraph. The Christian Civil Liberties Union will be holding various actions to protest Lady Gaga's performance at Summerfest this coming year. When she sang the national anthem for the gay and lesbian parade in New York City last June, she changed the words of the song from Home of the Brave to Home of the Gays. She sang, "Oh, say does a star-spangled flag of pride yet wave, or the land of the free, and the home for the gays." While wearing a rainbow flag, we find Gaga to be a traitor to the mortal fiber America was built on. Now, on behalf of every soldier that's being in woods with one arm, one leg, blinded, are we going to allow this without speaking up? Now, we put in here some of the corporate sponsors. I'll just name a few that we got. McDonald's, they don't seem to care. Cooper Law Firm, Pick and Save stores, and there's Harley Davidson, our great bank on the corner that took over, what's the name of it? The HMO Bank or whatever on 70th and Greenfield. All of these sponsors, plus all of the TVs, they're throwing money in there. Not a one will say a word about it. And everybody's afraid. Why? They don't want to be called a homophobic. They're afraid of the lesbians. Who are these people that take over our country, disgrace our flag in America? Who do they think they are? And are you people going to say anything? You come here, I pledge allegiance to the flag. But what are you going to do about it when people disgrace the flag? You going to do anything? You had some soldiers here before when the female mayor was here, had a big disagreement with West Allis. And they were going to take the flag down and haul it away and bring it to Woods or some other things. I think the soldiers ought to come here if you guys don't say anything. If you're so afraid, I'm giving you a chance. I don't say you have to do it tonight. If you don't come out with some declaration that people should not support Summerfest, you don't recommend anybody go there. If you don't do anything, I promise you I'll go to Woods Hospital. I'll come back with as many soldiers as I can, and we'll take that flag down and remove it. I want you to say something, unless you agree with her. Did all these soldiers that gave their lives and their bodies do it all for just the gays, or did they fight for everybody?
You have 1
Is
minute
America
remaining.
for everybody, or is it for a few select people who want to rule with their lifestyle and force us into it? This is a disgrace, and it should be addressed. I realize you're here about streets, that's important, but what about our flag, and what about these people? You know, I'm a little disgraced by my vice brother. You've got a place here, he's got a stone. I think we're going to cover it up. It's on, where is it, down the street here on National Avenue for all the soldiers who fought for West Allis. We better start covering up these stones if you ain't going to speak up. If you're so afraid of the gay and lesbians that you're going to sit here like a bunch of wimps, we're going to cover those stones up. We're going to do something. And I hope to God you guys do something. And shame on anybody that would support that woman and go down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation and move on to item F on your agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess, and those room numbers are listed on page 1 of your agendas. Next, we'll move on to the mayor's report. I have just a couple of things this evening. One, on behalf of the city of West Allis, I want to once again congratulate retired West Allis firefighter Bill Kane, who recently celebrated his 100th birthday. There was a nice piece on, I believe it was Channel 58, and the family and the fire department put together a very nice event for him. So I just want to once again wish him a semi-belated happy 100th birthday. Also, if you have noticed down there, Alderman Reinke's a little bit lonely, as we have a vacancy in the 5th District. No offense to Council President Lysick, of course, but the West Allis Youth Commission will be holding a candidate forum, interviewing the 6 people that will be running to be elected to that vacant seat, and it is going to be on Monday, the 3rd of February. It is going to be in this room at 6:30, and the questions will be coming from the youth commissioners themselves. They will be written by the youth commissioners themselves. The public is welcome to attend. It will also be broadcast on Channel 25 live, and it will be rebroadcast on Channel 25. So if you live in the 5th District, I hope you will take a few minutes to try to become educated on these candidates, and of course go vote in the primary and the general election. One bit of good news, I got an email today regarding Candy Cane Lane, and in 2013 they raised over $85,000 for the MAC Fund and for childhood cancer research. I want to thank all the organizers as well as all the volunteers that stood out in the cold and collected money. Speaking of cold, the ice rink at La Follette Park has been reflooded and repaired. I know today it's not a very appealing thought, but it is supposed to be up to 25 degrees this weekend, so keep that in mind if you're looking for something to do. And lastly, I need to congratulate two West Allis residents that I know personally for being named to the Business Journal's 40 Under 40 list this year. One is Citlali Ramos, who owns Antigua Latin Restaurant and was also the West Allis Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year last year. And the other one is sitting right next to me, Mike May, who was selected for his traffic engineering work as well as his citizen involvement in our community. So now I'll let him roll right into a speech if he wants to. It's time for the alderpersons' reports. Are there any comments from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick?
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of January 7th, 2014.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman Reinke. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item J, I'll ask for a motion to refer item 2 and item 3 to the city attorney.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Alderman Weigel, second by Alderman Barzak. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item K, standing committee reports, we have none.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in recess.